Hello you crazy geek planeteers, it's Matt here and welcome back to Skyrim and indeed the adventures of Mr. Punchington. Now you may be wondering where my beautiful face is. Well, there was a small problem and I'd like to thank the lovely people at Elgato for this particular issue, as I installed a software update for my capture card only to get my default microphone mysteriously set to their audio compositing software. So none of my audio for my commentary got recorded. So I'm having to do a sort of commentary after the fact. So I'm not actually playing this as I'm talking to you. I played this some time ago. Right, so let's fill you in on a few issues that we had with the whole Buck Punchington thing. So I had forgotten that unarmed in Skyrim does not progress the way it does in other Bethesda games. In fact, unarmed doesn't have its own sort of... It has a base attack value, but it doesn't level up like all the other skills in Skyrim do as you hit things. So basically, unless you do things to enhance your punching, you will be forever doing the same pitiful amount of damage. And as such, I found in another episode that I recorded that was supposed to be originally episode 2, and it went horribly wrong because anything I came up against, I died. Because other than sort of wolves and the occasional rat, anything I tried to punch would just kill me before punching it. So I've had to do away with the whole no clothing rule, because as it turns out, the way to level up your punching in Skyrim is to level up your heavy armor and then to activate the Fists of Steel perk, which will add your heavy armor rating to your fists, and actually that's how you level up and do more damage. So as you level up and you get better at heavy armor and your heavy armor rating increases, thus you do more damage, and that's basically how that works. So I had to disappear off and do some grinding, which you lot would have found particularly boring. I went around punching things slowly and running away and healing and so forth until I leveled up a bit and I got my heavy armor up to level 30, at which point I could activate the Fists of Steel perk. So at the point that this footage joins us, here we go, I've just come in now, at the point that we join this footage, I've just headed back to Whiterun, where I have got some loot to trade in, but more importantly I've got some materials to make myself some better gloves so that I can add that armor rating to my punching and I can actually stand a chance and actually survive. What we've also done, I think this is the point I was demonstrating that, is so I've increased the heavy armor rating by 2 points. I put 2 perks in there as I've hit level 5, and I've activated Fists of Steel. I've also activated the steel smithing perk on the blacksmithing tree so that I can actually smith myself some steel gauntlets. As you'll see, there you go, steel smithing. Actually, even though I only recorded this last night, I cannot for the life of me remember what I did. Oh, look at that handsome fella. Isn't he sexy? So, I think at this point I was checking, do I want Nordic or Imperial gauntlets? But they're identical in armor rating. But I also have no iron. Oh no! So I'm going to have to go and talk to Ivonova number 3. I don't know. There's lots of Ivonovas in Skyrim, and I sell a bunch of crap so I can buy her iron. Nom 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 nom. Selling all the things so that I can buy her iron, and then I can make myself some steel gauntlets. Yeah, so I've had to abandon the whole running around naked thing because your sort of overall armor rating is it's specifically what's on the gauntlets that adds to the Fists of Steel perk, but you're more likely to level up your heavy armor skill if more parts of you are covered in heavy armor. So certainly I may strip off a bit later on once I've actually got a decent amount of health to begin with. Oh, look at that handsome bastard. Made myself an iron helmet. Behold the horny helmet of justice. Buck Punchington approves of this helmet, for it is shiny and horny. Oh yes, Mr. Preachy Poos, getting on my tits, and at some point around now I lose my temper. Or rather, Buck Punchington loses his temper. And he stares and it finds Mr. Yelly Man. Where is Mr. Yelly Man? Oh, he's there. There we go. There's Mr. Yellyman. He finds Mr. Yellyman, and he looks down at his mighty fists. And he does a quick save just in case things go horribly wrong. And then he punches the living shit out of Heimska. Oh, you run, Heimska, but my fists of justice shall find you. Do not run from Buck Punchington. You shall be punched up the bracket. Bracket, 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 punching, punching, bracket, 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 snake. Scary snake. Yes, you cower there. Oh, you dared. You dared from the punchy fist of justice, and now I shall strip your corpse. Now, this really goes a bit weird, because I've noticed everyone is sort of running off down there. And I seem to have accidentally sort of caused some kind of clusterfuck. I think in retrospect, because they're all companions, I think the guards are coming after me, and they're all hostile. So all of the companions went running after the guards, because in the interim I've joined the companions. I think that's what happened. So the white run guard who's behind me, whispering tenderly in my ear, has caught me and asked me to pay a bounty. So basically, murder costs 40 gold, but I'll never have to listen to that yelling bastard yelling again, which makes me very happy, because God, he gets on my tits. So yes, I went and joined the Legion, and the first job before they'll let you in full time is you have to go and clear out the fort. Now, I'd already killed some of the enemies on the periphery. It took a while. I was basically punching, then running away using the healing spell because I'd run out of potions, punching some more. And then this is where things went horribly wrong for me, because I was a bit overconfident, so I punched this bandit to death. You'll go down. You'll go down to the fists of justice. And I did pretty well there. I was pretty pleased with myself. So then I'm punching this fellow. I am managing to land a couple of blows. So I managed to kill him by punching him in the head and looting and stripping his corpse. And then as I come up here, I'm sort of, whoa, what's up here? And I failed to notice the bloke at the back. I'm sure there are more blokes, but it looked like I thought the coast was clear. So I'm just looting the living daylights out of things. Loot, 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 loot. And then I think I go and unlock the chest. Yeah, there we go. And yes, there's a fellow behind me who's a bandit chief, who is also wearing banded iron armour, which is absorbing most of my punches. So here's me sort of confidently swinging. Also, you'll notice this happens a lot as I sort of zoom out. I'm not doing it to get so you get a good view of Buck Punchington's bottom. It's because part of my disability is a sort of lack of coordination. So something I really hate, it's the right stick. Happens a lot in FPSs as well. Basically anything that uses clicking the right stick to dark or to zoom out, something like that. I push down a little too hard, like with a little too much pressure when I'm sort of spinning the camera around trying to figure out what's going on, and I end up ducking or entering stealth mode or what have you. And as a result, of course, in the case of Skyrim, I zoom out and I can't really see what I'm doing. You know, you really... So at this point, I think I give in. I've got no potions because I neglected to pick those up. So I've eaten a bit of beef. And I decide that running away, discretion is the better part of valour. Buck Punchington will run and live to punch another day. It is not cowardly. Because at this point the bandit chief kind of gets a little stuck, which gives me some extra healing time. Now I can go back to punching. Punchy, punchy. Down you go, Milado. And then finally I can strip off his armour. At some point it's probably going to occur to past me that that was better armour than I had on, and perhaps I should equip it. Yes, it's the surprise of my fist in your mush. Punchy, punchy. Down you go, punk. This one has a sword. Now I have a sword. Now I have all the things, including your pants. Ah, 'tis like a maiden's kiss. Or something. Buck Punchington talks a lot of rubbish. And now he is wearing banded iron armour. For he is manly. And now I search for this avocado. Yeah, this is the point where I see a sort of reflection of light and say, oh, is that a secret switch? No, it's just lighting glitch. Oh, look, a bandit. He gonna get punched. Oh, yeah. And he was the last fellow, apparently. So I'm just going to take all these things. Except that book, because it's boring. Of course I will take the cheese. Buck Punchington is fond of cheese. And also random bread. And now Buck Punchington returns to one of the many of Oliver's.
Welcome back, soldier. I'm glad.
Hello, Legate Ricky Lake.
I'll send men to garrison the fort right away. You did well. I'm impressed.
Thank you.
But before we go any further, it's time for you to officially join the Legion.
Does this involve punching?
He'll administer the oath.
The punching oath?
In joining the Legion, you'll be taking an oath binding you to the service of the Emperor, and thus to every citizen of the Empire.
But also my fists for punching, yes? Oh, very well.
Well then, repeat after me. Upon my honor, I do swear undying loyalty to the Emperor, Titus Mede II.
Upon my honor, I do swear undying loyalty to my punchy fists of justice.
And unwavering obedience to the officers of his great empire.
And unwavering obedience to the punchy justice of Punchy. May those above judge me if they want to fuck punch in the kidneys. And those below get punched too, for I am hard. Long live my punchy fists.
Just remember, we take care of our own. Once you're in the Legion, you're in it for life. Speak to Baron.
Buck Punchington is not sure he's ready for that level of commitment.
He'll get you outfitted.
Okay, so this is the next part of my sort of powering up my fists mini self-imposed quest thing. So we've come to Riften, and the reason we've come to Riften is in the Ratway there is an NPC, a hostile NPC called Gian the Fist, and he has in the game the only piece of armor that's enchanted with basically plus anything to punching, which are the gloves of the pugilist. And the gloves themselves add 10 to unarmed damage, but they themselves are quite weak. They're light armour. So what we're going to do is we're going to venture into the Ratway once we've finished threatening this guard. We're going to venture into the Ratway, and we're going to punch him to death and take his gloves so that we can then disenchant them and start adding that enchantment to other objects. Okay, so the Ratway is under the docks in Riften. So we're just trundling along here to find the stairs on the other side. Providing we don't have guards repeating memes. There we go. And it's right opposite those stairs. In we go. Ah, the Ratway has 2 doors, for it is a magical place. And now time for Leroy Jenkins. I'm Punchington and Black Skeever, Black Skeever, Black Skeever. Actually, I'm punching Draft. And this is where I have to employ my time-honoured technique of equipping healing and running like buggery. I'm punching a bit more. Ah, at least my heavy armor's going up. Oh, I'll punch him in the third. There you go. Punchy, punchy. One thing I'm noticing through playing through like this is that when someone's got a shield equipped, there's not a lot of feedback in terms of... Well, I suppose there's not a lot of feedback in general. Like, unless you're watching their health bar like a hawk, then there's not a lot of sort of tactile feedback that lets you know, or visual feedback that lets you know that you're actually doing some damage. And of course, putting your eyes on their health bar is taking your eyes off of the fight, which can be problematic. And lo, the dragonborn Buck Punchington did eat an entire supermarket's worth of vegetables and cheese. The only downside to venturing down into the Ratway is that you can't actually just sort of dive in and out. You actually have to go down the whole thing, which is something that I forgot. Because Gian the Fist is in here, as you can see. Although he's just impaled himself on his own bear trap. And he's clearly not that tough, because he be punched! So if we... I take a look now at the gloves of the pugilist to illustrate the point. So yeah, only an armour of 8. And it's not heavy armour, so it wouldn't factor into the bonus anyways. What we need is heavy armour gloves enchanted with that very thing. No, Matt, don't punch the fiery jar. That way lies madness. Now, you'll see as I sort of come through here, I'm trying to venture out. That's an expert locked door, which I quickly think better of. But I can't just exit because I've had to drop down into this whole thing. So I've got no choice but to actually make my way through the Ratway, at least to a certain point. Although luckily it's not actually that labyrinthine. So come in here, nick some moths and butterflies and whatnot. And take the battle axe, which I can sell. And then wander through here to the sort of kitcheny bit. And, have a bit of a punch at this lowlife, whose mother clearly didn't love him very much because he was named Lowlife. Like, he could have been a Kenneth or a Philip or a Bob or a Buck. But instead his mother decided to name him Lowlife. So it's hardly surprising that he turned to a life of crime. What's weird there is that book should actually increase my thievery skills, but it didn't. Sneaking, I think? Or lockpicking? So yes, this is the lever. You know, lower that and then I can easily get back to where I started from. Punch the first two. And there we go, that's the gloves of the pugilist obtained. So now that we've got the enchantment unlocked, I can pick my gauntlets, pick the fortify unarmed spell, quality even. There we go. I've made the punchy fists of justice. There will be many more punchy fists of justice. So that's done there, and that's just about where I leave things for this episode. So that's where we've left things with Buck Punchington. So we've leveled up a little bit. We've got ourselves the Fists of Steel perk unlocked, and we've got ourselves the Gloves of the Pugilist, which we have dropped down. We have disenchanted to enable us to enchant as many things as we like moving forward. And as soon as I've got myself some more soul gems, I'll be able to enchant other things and just slowly bump up my unarmed damage and make this a viable choice. So, as ever, thanks for watching. I'm sorry it's been a bit weird. I'll make sure all the equipment's working next time. But hey, at least you got an episode, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye-bye.